Social Infrastructure is recorded live on Twitch. Battle reports will be linked in the description so you can follow along.
All right, and we're live. Welcome everyone to Social Infrastructure, a podcast about the Galaxy Simulator known as EVE Online, brought to you by the Statefarer Alliance, bringing you the 3 C's of EVE: community, content, and killing. We'll be covering new updates with the Statefarer Alliance at the end of every episode. You can follow the podcast on Discord at Social Infrastructure Podcast or right here on Twitch. And soon, I'm hoping, once I understand how to do it, we'll be on podcasts found near you.
On this podcast, we talk to small and medium-sized alliances or corps, alliance directors, about how they got their start in EVE, what they are currently doing. Then in future episodes, we will check back in, get an update from them, and we usually finish off the episode fumbling through some EVE news and updates to the game.
I will actually make an introduction this time. I'm Titus Kyle, formerly known as Levi Jameson in game, CEO of Social Infrastructure Corporation.
And I am the real Eilish, and with us today is the director of Out of the Blue and my personal favorite CEO, Rots Mindworker.
That's sweet. Appreciate that. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Oh man, I couldn't think of a better guest to have on our second episode. Yeah, you've always been a good guy, know your shit, fun to fight against, and fun to fly with.
That's we are constantly doing something. It's a pleasure to do this with you. So
yeah. Well, I guess let's kind of get right into it. Could you give us kind of just a brief history of like how you got started in EVE? You know, how you became leadership or director of the Corp and Alliance that you're in now?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Man, I've been playing this game too long. I got started. I used to play a game called Pirates of the Burning Sea, and it's a very familiar shout back to EVE in a weird way. I came over like 14 years ago with a bunch of friends. I had started playing that game, and it was the original line ships game. This is like before naval action, before all that. And it was like 24 on 24 port battles, and it was based in the Caribbean. You could pick a nation and be it. So as any good American, I was clearly the British, and I used to FC over there. Now, I was like in high school at the time, and there's another guy in this game who I came over with who I used to FC against, and he was a great dude, and his name was Ray Birdie, and he was with me in Boom. Freight Train Diplomacy, and I think they're in NSH right now. But we all came over post that game kind of falling apart. They went kind of a pay-to-play model. SOE used to own them, yada yada. It's all history. But that's where I got into FCing and community building. But, you know, I was very young, kind of naive. And nowadays, you know, it's a little bit different. So I got into EVE, and I joined a small little alliance with them, with a couple German friends, and we grew up in Duisvit. And I actually saw my assets in there the other day. I was like, oh man, the old days. You know, the mining and the mission running and all that. And if you know me now, I don't have money in this game. I don't know what I do when it is regarding mining and all that. Because I went out on one PvP fleet. I was in a rental alliance. It was IEG or something like that. We were in Vale, and I got hooked, and I started FCing and doing all that. But that's how I got into the game. And having done a few alliances, it's like 3 to 4 now. Worked in the coalitions, did a lot of FCing in the blocks, and yada yada. It's been about 12, 13 years that I've been leading people into roams or fleet fights and growing that community. And then we ended up doing Out of the Blue after I took a 5-year hiatus because it was the pandemic, and we wanted to go and just talk to people. And we started a corp called Quarantine Fleet, and just hit up a bunch of people. So what are you doing? So we had friends in Spain, we had friends in Britain, everywhere, just saying, hey, what are you up to? And they're like, I'm tired and I'm in lockdown and I'm scared. And we're like, let's go shoot some ships. And that's what we started doing. And now 2 years later, we're creating another alliance. And our whole goal since we got back was not to do it like we did the other days in the old times, is to not be block affiliated, not do anything other than be independent and do things ourselves if we can. It's not a model that works in EVE right now, and we're hoping to change that. And that's what we're doing.
Awesome.
You were talking about, building community. I am definitely part of this community you've been building but for those who aren't in our alliance, what kind of community are you trying to create in EVE, and how would you describe the people in your alliance?
The community I'm trying, and everyone has their own take on our community, and that's community, right? And what I'm trying to create in EVE is about family. All of these people I've known for X amount of years. I've known some people for 13 plus. I've seen people have kids. I've been a groomsman at a wedding. I was announced as the spaceship lord at that one. That was pretty cool. I've seen people grow up. I've seen people pass. I've got cool mementos from people. Most of us quit EVE the first time because we had become, pretty recognizably drawn into what the linear progression is in 0-0 at least. And our community is a PvP community. That's the big part of it. And the goal is to be independent, a self-holding entity. We're not block or coalition affiliated as much as we can. I'm no Mittens or Villy, and I'm a firm believer that huffing that much of your own air is exhausting, frankly. And a lot of the players in our community feel the same way, and we live our existence maybe differently than the normal F1 coalition member. I would venture to say our community is unique in the fact that we're not doing what most alliances in EVE do, in the sense of I'm not taking the easy approach to, 0-0 and nullsec, where we're taking merc contracts when there's not a lot of contracts out there. We're creating content just by existing. And that's what I believe in EVE. And that's what the community believes in. If we're not doing it in EVE, we're doing it in other games as well. And my hope is, this community transcends, even more years than now. I'd like to, in my 30s, be talking about hanging out with people still. So that's what we're about, and that's how I would describe us, is just we are all very much the same way. And I think a lot of us would have quit again if we didn't do this. So that's us in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I've been with your organization, in the past and everything, and I would definitely say the feeling you guys have there, it's like a little family. You guys are all super tight knit. May argue or whatever, but you guys still, it's not a big deal. And you guys, and with the content, I know I've been roaming before and found nothing, and out in space, pretty quiet, and I was like, well, it's a few jumps, but I got an idea where we can go. I know some guys that will actually come out and play with us, and you guys gave us a good fight, and it was awesome.
We try to. I don't believe in a ton of blues, so yeah. It's not that it's a bad mechanic. I would tell CCP it's a bad mechanic, and what I would tell them is bad about the mechanic is they didn't limit it. Through a lot of the things that they don't limit, they've created bottlenecks in how the game can be played. But when it comes to diplomacy and trying to increase interaction, I've always thought that the fact that I can blue as many people as I want to was always a problem. Now, a lot of people would argue that point with me, but that's my simplistic view on EVE politics. But for us, we have very minimal blues, and we're about to get even a smaller blue list, because we are eating when we're roaming, we're eating when we're blopsing, we're jumping wherever we want to go, and I just would rather not have to find a lot of blues doing it. It needs to be quick. A lot of people in our community come back from work exhausted and just want to unpack, and they can do that on a roam with us. They can do that on a fleet. I had one of my dear friends' wives message me the other day and said, "Hey, I just need you to take my man out and take care of him." I'm like, "I got you." That's our community. That's what we do. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, and
We have a wives chat set up where we all gossip and stuff. It's amazing.
no, of course Eilish is in it. My wife is in there. I make the joke, like, she's clearly talking about crocheting, but I really don't know what they're talking about. It's fun because we have a server and they have their own thing. So
I think that's a great idea, and I'm pretty positive we're not going to have that in our organization. We don't need them orchestrating against us. Oh man, yeah, good stuff. So, I mean, shoot, kind of answered a lot of these questions. What? Go ahead.
So, we have some new people coming into us. Did you want to talk about some of these groups, Rods?
I can do that. I could talk about the people wanting to join us, and
Perfect.
Specifically, what our future plans are. If you're looking, I'll preamble this with, if you're looking to join our community out of the blue, you'll find we're looking for people with a like-minded approach. If you're looking to join a block, or you're looking for a large amount of people in fleet and you want to be in that big fight, while I won't say it doesn't happen, I will tell you we are not your alliance. I'm not looking to get in large fights. Now we've created conflict that has generated that. And there's the set piece fights on Fortizars, on keeps. It happens. But we're a very new bro friendly group. And we have 2 or 3 corporations strongly centered on higher SP tunes, and the entire ethos of the alliance is to bring in the next generation of player, and maybe bring them up a different way. When it comes to new bros and bringing new players into this game, I can promise you 90% of the alliances that do that are block affiliated. So a lot of people are brought up in that, and that's how they learn. And when it comes down to, I'll get a new character who's maybe sub 20 mil skill points. He's been in for about a year and a half, and he still doesn't know how to fly his ship. That's where we come in. But that's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in others. So that's kind of how we recruit. We get a hold of people on Reddit or on forum posts. They can contact me through Discord. My Discord is the name up here, Rots Mineworker, number 5566. You can always hit me up. But with regard to our expansion now, and that probably goes into our little bit of a talk about Pureblind, is we're bringing in a bunch of communities that have already established themselves, that reached out, and the first one I'll talk about is Nink and his guys they were Out of Sight, and they also were part of Dark Side. And Nink is an incredible person to work with. He is awesome. I've had the pleasure of knowing or fighting or really frankly getting evicted by Nink several times. And we had reached out to him and TLDR, his Russian group, and their friends all wanted to start an alliance that was essentially called Out of the Blue, but in Cyrillic. And they were like, "Hey, you guys already have it." I'm like, "Yeah, we do indeed." He's like, "And you do the same stuff we do." I'm like, "We do indeed, Nink." So our most exciting news so far is we've started actually pulling in crews of people that are corps of people that are with Nink and involved with him in his time zone, which is the RU and an EU time zone. And we're also getting a merger of old Vindictive members who have come over. A lot of them are just exhausted of leadership. and essentially forming underneath the name Out of the Blue, and persevering and expanding our community. And then we also got a new corp recently, and their name is Activate. And I cannot. My whole week has been talking about these guys because they came out of a wormhole. They were like, "Oh, I'm going to go to Pandemic Court, or maybe I want to reach out to them." And I was like, "Hey, try something different. Like, come out on a roam with us." And what we've been doing recently is getting on Discord. Getting a camera and looking at a face. It's the pandemic right now, and it's been just life-changing for a lot of people. It's like, oh my god, I've known this guy for 12 years and never seen his face. Or this is a new dude and they go out roaming, and I have more fun in Eve in this night than I've had in X amount of weeks or months. And Bofu and his guys came over, Unknown Activation, and these are the first groups we've actually brought into the Alliance since our inception. So we've been up for about 5 months, and it's been tough. We're a different group, so it's not as appealing to the normal player. We don't believe in risk adversity. We do believe in go out, lose your shit, excuse my French, and have some fun doing it. And, right now with the contracts we're taking on as a Merc crew, that's appealed to a lot of other independent crews that want to come in and do that. And we have been offering SRP and traditional block level methods, which, look here, guys, you don't need to be a block to have SRP. You don't need to be a block to do, member programs. We're doing it in a alliance, and we're doing it all ourselves. And yeah,
That's awesome. No, that's exciting. Sounds like something different. I know. Just even in small games, 5. I don't know. I've been out in faction war space, some more faction war space lately. And sitting in a Plex and just in T1 frigates, and they got about the same size number. Okay, guys, get ready. And they jump off. It's like, what do you have to lose?
Do it. Yeah.
What?
Was it?
Hate to see it.
Was it my birthday room that Bofu came on?
No, this was just another one. We went out of Amar, went to Amamaki and stuff. And if it's not that, if it's not being able to get a just kind of clash some T1 frigates, we've been having a lot of fun with dock workers. They make sure. I think the one time
they're
we
a
had,
good crew.
well, yeah. So they aren't afraid to drop the hammer. I think we had 3 caracals. We got a covert Sino-lit on us, and I think we had at least 5 Black Ops battleships. And
they did the business. Yeah.
Yeah. Best part about that was we managed to get a couple shots on their their T2 cruiser, whatever the heck. Pilgrim? I think that was before Gate Guns killed it. And so at least we.
So you did get something.
We got something.
You pulled the hat trick. Yeah.
Oh, I think I got 1% DPS on it, enough to show up on a kill bell. So.
Well, hey, you did some amount of work, albeit 1% of it.
Yeah, it was still fun.
And to answer your question, Eilish, yeah, that fleet that Bofu and the Unknown Activation guys came on was your birthday fleet. Yeah, that was a really good one. I enjoyed it.
I can't believe we caught that Rourke and we killed it.
I mean, I will say the best birthday present in your birthday was, expanding our community. It was just cool to go and jump in on a yeet with a bunch of battleships that no one had any business being in, and, killing the Goon Rourke and doing it out from under a Munin fleet.
Oh, geez.
I have no idea how I got. Yeah, it was a crazy fight, and I got the Paladin out I was in. I just MJ'd off and deuced, and then it couldn't have been better. We safed up. They didn't have probes. We went and yeeted, and I'm singing "Country Road, Take Me Home," and we are one jump from staging when we came out of the yeet. I mean, it was a nuts fleet.
That's awesome. What fleet comp were you guys in to take down that local?
We had a whole bunch of Baddens. We had some Balgorns. I brought out a Paladin. There were 4 Lashaks. It's just anyone wanted to fly whatever the hell they wanted to, and they got into it. They abyssal the crap out of it. They faction the crap out of it, and just had some fun. And then boom, we lost a fair few of them, and then got a fair few out, which was a lot of us are, again, we don't believe in risk adversity. I mean, some people lose some misc and they're like, hey, I need some help. And this community is nonstop providing. Because if someone can't get in that fleet, it's just, I think everyone in the group is hurt by it. So we give and we give. But it's Eilish's birthday, so we're like, let's take this dude out.
And I mean, you guys start tackling a Goon Roracle. I mean, you know what's coming down the pipe. You're kind of putting it out on the line. That's awesome.
We were 3 jumps from 1 DQ.
We
had no business killing that thing. We had no business killing it, and we got it.
I mean, usually Goons come out with a pretty strong defense right off the bat. Wow, that's impressive.
Our forethought was, and I think what actually made it happen is we brought a couple of Cyno inhibs with us.
Oh, yeah.
And once we got them, a couple people, again, very drunk, we were like, oh, we gotta get the Cyno inhibs out, and we are like, okay, let's do it. Plopped a couple of them, and they did undock a few Cynos. And they were trying. I'm imagining this Falcon pilot like, oh, I got this mutant fleet on the other end. We're gonna tear him up, and he's trying to like. He's like, it's not working. Yeah, I mean that was probably the best thing we did. Was someone had the thought of bringing those, and we got the work down. And I think earlier in that roam we killed a couple other really good things. I mean it was a killer. It was a killer fleet. It's just. It's something else. The community's always doing something. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Now I really regret missing that one.
You could come. I'll invite you next time. We'll make it better. Me and Boss both have birthdays coming up. So mine's December 29th. So we've been talking about doing Nano Carrier for a hot minute.
There you go.
I think Nano Nidhogger needs to come out and ride again.
Oh, jeez. So, yep, that'll be a good one.
Coming to a local stager near you.
Oh, wow. Well, Eilish, you got anything else for the man?
Going back, talking about like the birthday fleets and stuff. What is like the usual content you guys do other than, the mercenary work? Or just like the CTAs and the fleet pings. Like, what do you guys? Or I know the question or the answer, but what is your go-to content? What are the ships you guys take out for these fleets? And explain why.
That's a loaded question too, because I'm at the point in my, and this, in my Eve career where okay, so it even extends into my real life existence. I'm a scenery carpenter in real life, and I build sets for theater, and we are doing something different every single day where I work. I run the shop. I got a bunch of painters and carpenters, and we are doing something different every day. That's how I like to work in real life. I'm not a cubicle guy. I'm very similar in Eve. I don't put myself in a box, so I am doing just about everything. If we're not doing blops, we're doing small gang roams. If we're not doing that, we're doing themed fleets. If we're not doing that, I've participated on Spectre fleet stuff. We've been doing large fights, mid-scale fights, jumping through wormholes, ganks, gate camps. I mean, we are all over the map in what content we're wanting, and it's completely driven by someone just says, hey, I want to do this tonight, you guys want to go? I'm like, yeah. We do get our fair bit of set piece fights, as long as they don't blue ball us, and which happens. And we've even higher, this is the story arc of our existence is, we're looking to find a spot to go plop and be independent, which is, largely impossible in this game. A lot of people claim. During the big Goon War, we said that's just boring. We went and attacked Fountain, and those residents over there, Fe and Sika and Fed Up. We were fighting them and having the good fight while there's this massive war going on. We had a lot of successes. We had a lot of losses. It was fun. And it ended up, rolling back over the region when Goons won. And I just said the words that Pappy's going to come hunting for me. And post that, we were like, well, what next? So we went to FDZ. Brave was doing their thing post-war. We were seeing how everything shakes. We're like, well, everything's coming home. That means I can go shoot some people at their home and be about 10 jumps away. And, I mean, the entire goal of this alliance, and Eilish, you know this, and it's content. If I can't get it quick and I can't get someone on after work and, try to relieve their stresses and go have a good day, then I'm not a really good community leader. And so that's the belief, and that's what we do. I mean, we are all over the place content-wise. I mean, it's just about nothing we don't do. We haven't dropped supers yet. Could give you that one. We have drop caps. We're all over the place. I mean, we do it all. And it's based off people's interest. If the interest is there, we do it.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is just, something that's happening with Eve. Our member base in this game is just getting older and older, and we just don't have, that free time like, did in, in high school or college or that we can really devote. I mean, anymore, I pretty much know, like this week I have, of course I'm going to squeak out a little more time and, beg forgiveness from the wife, but I got a pretty good idea of like, oh, I know I can play probably 2 hours this day, 3 hours this day, and then I might be able to, log on and do a little bit here and there. So yeah, you really gotta, and as growing as an FC too, I mean, that's just kind of the things that if you don't have those conflicts and easy fights you can get in. I was used to being in faction warface and space, so it was easy. You got in a frigate, went in a novice, and
hopped on the beacon, went and did that thing. Yeah.
And then going out to nullsec, I was like, oh shit, there'll just be fights everywhere. I mean, look how many people are out there. And then yeah, it was interesting. Still not the best, but Yeaton really did help. That I'm glad they did that. That really just made so much more fun.
When I came back to the game, they had kind of just released them. They were scarce on the market, and a lot of people complained that Yeats existed, and I'm like, I'm one of those guys that's always been a fan of, local blackout. I've been a fan of, essentially, Eve should never be safe, and there's been a lot of that over the years where people have found a way to say, oh, this is pretty darn safe. I don't believe in safety. I don't. It defeats the purpose of what the game is really meant to be, which is an ever-evolving, galaxy of content, and when we came back from our hiatus and we started Quarantine Fleet, I said, what do I got available to me? And these Yeats were life-changing, at least for me, because I'm a guy who, in the old days, you had to roam where you wanted to go. That's why they called it a roam. You had to leave wherever you were and go find, and if you were in a block, I mean, I'll be damned. You were probably doing 80 jumps, 90 jumps that night. It's just boring. And you spend more time hoping something jumps through that gate. And nowadays, you just yeet, you're right in, and then it's your travel home, if you can, And, I think that was a good amount of lifeblood, at least for the small ganger. Looking to get some content.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if it's been quite as crucial to give them content like Yeats have, but those Eve Scout with the Theraholes, that's a really good one too.
Oh, they do God's work.
And that's such a good point. It's like if I'm not eating, I'm using Thera. Yeah. I hinge on either of those. I'm like, is there a Thera close to me? Because I love Thera. I will just go sit in the hole and, find an exit and come back and find another exit. And Thera is just as good, if not better, than Yeats. And Volta had the right idea. Is they were based in Thera for some time. And I've always asked them kind of, what was their reason for leaving? And they said the reason they left home, and they call Thera home, is because of doctrines and the reality that hacks were so overbalanced. Or overpowered, rather. And they said there was just some ways to approach stuff, and then your way of life, whether it be killing Rorks or supers or whatnot, the response time was just untenable. So living in Thera that supported that content, it was just untenable itself. But man, Thera's a win.
Wasn't
if you're a small
another
game.
problem for Volta too? That I think I kind of remember him talking about was the resistance nerfs too, and just being in those smaller groups, they just couldn't take that incoming DPS from those large blocks that they were always fighting.
Fair. That is fair.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I believe we'll finish off with this last question, Rots. What's some advice you can give someone starting a new corp or alliance?
These are all very poignant. Let me tell you, you boys. I have started giving a lot of people advice. I wouldn't say I was the guy originally. I would even give it out. People know me to be very the word that often comes out is modest. I like to think reserved. I don't like to impede on anyone else's growth or break a chain of thought, because I think everyone's chain of thought and their opinions are really important. But that said, some advice I would give someone starting their own corporate alliance. Don't be discouraged by temporary losses or shortcomings. People follow the fun and the initiative they see in others, and that's always been a big ringer on my end. There's a lot of people that are upcoming FCs even, hear me, is you going out and doing something is what brings people into your fleets and what brings people into your community. A good community leader is someone that provides. You have to be ready to be a provider, and you have to have boatloads of patience. Building a community takes time, patience, all of which I learned on the job. If you meet me in real life, I am incredibly impatient. I am a stubborn ox. And that's because I like to see stuff get done. And I've applied that, but learned to be patient. And that's especially true when you're trying to grow a community that might include, new bros. I strongly encourage anyone to, who's looking to form their own group, to be pre-planning that now. Like, don't jump into it head on. Although exciting, I remember when I first started my first corp, and I was like, I'm ready to go, and I didn't have the skills to actually do it. And decide what your group is going to be, and what you want to do is keep players engaged day to day and eve. And if you succeed here, you will have tons of success down the road. You have to A, know what you're going to do, B, tell people exactly what you're going to do, and C, say, if you're not a part of that and you don't want to be a part of that, that's okay. Some people come and go, and don't be discouraged. Ever. Don't. Everyone has a different opinion, and everyone has a different approach in EVE Online. So, and that extends outside this game, in case you didn't know. So, yeah. That's the biggest thing I would give anyone advice on, is persevere, be patient, and more importantly, if you provide, they will come.
Yeah. Yep. And it's kind of, as you're talking about all that, starting a new alliance with a friend we talked about on the first episode, and then starting my corporation, which I actually originally, it was what was it, hostile tendencies because hostile tendencies are already taken, didn't care about the name, and then came out with the first episode of the podcast, and I was like, well, social infrastructure, I feel like that's as good a name, if not better. So, and I was like, well, and I got, and my corp membership base is made up of my alt, so I think this is a good time to go ahead and let's rip this band-aid off. And luckily I had everything set up. But yeah, with this corp, like you said, I've been setting it up on Discord and in-game with roles and getting ships and hangars and all the roles and that cluster of, to put it politely, system that they have to get roles and all that. And then before I even started to make, recruit and get members in that corporation, because I had my goal and what I wanted, like you said, and I had to have all these things set up in order to offer that dream that I had, and right now just trying to kind of taking anyone, new guys, veterans alike, out in low sec. Got a bunch of, trying to get people over that fear of loss, and I don't want to go to low sec because it's scary and people can shoot me. And just I've brought in, freighter loads of just free frigates and just tell people, it's like, obviously you don't abuse the system, but grab a ship, get out there, blow up, learn from it, grab another one, go again, and then trying to teach them how that there is a hell of a lot better money to be made than a new player can make in high sec. So yeah, it's been super cool. And then like you said, staying positive, because had a couple ideas how I was going to recruit people. Like I was like, I'll go to all the starting systems and I'll just, okay, this guy is 2 days old, and I'll get him in here. I'll send him this great mail that I wrote out. And I'll start a conversation with them, and they'll just be like, oh, thank you so much. I'm new, and and oh man, you're a savior. Yeah, I want to join. I think I messaged and talked, or tried to talk to probably 300 new players, and I got one. And I was like, okay, you know what? Shotgun approach, that's fine. We can go with that. And then I was like, okay, I talked to him a little bit on there, got him in Corp. I was like, okay, here we go. We're starting now. I mean, I can if I do that every time and get one player, I can live with that. Log in the next day, guy had left. I was like, okay. And it was like one of those, it's not like I've had other alliances, and stuff, but it was like one of those things like, oh man, what am I doing? And then, kind of went at it, and then started hitting the forums hard, and just, seeing people what they were asking for. And then of course those people, they ask like, oh, hey, kind of new player coming back. And then you just get these blanket responses, of our corporation and alliances does this, and we can offer you the sun. And yeah, I think the second paragraph, I pretty much smash all their hopes and dreams, and like tell them what I can't offer them, so that they're coming in on the right. But this is what I can. And yeah, and thankfully enough, shout out to the guys that have joined the Corp social infrastructure so far. I mean, if I can get another 10 like these guys, it's exactly, I can see that we got something going on, just like you got, Rots. It's these guys just, we've just been bullshitting and spent far too much time already with them and all that. And I think it seems like, this kind of dream or idea I had is actually working. And, we got a guy that, he's only a couple days old now, Vanilla. And I think today showed him how to gas harvest. I think that's going to kind of be our little trick to show new guys how to make ISK pretty easy. And I think he made like 150, 200 mil today, just kind of hanging out and, just kind of laying the foundation, allow these guys to be self-sufficient so that, they can afford to go out in PvP and, do the fun shit.
It's something. Like, I gotta touch on the recruitment posting and the forums and the way everyone does it. It's exhausting. Oh. I mean, in short, it is absolutely exhausting. There's the people doing the shotgunning. There's the people on Reddit. There's the people on the forums. I got a guy, I went to his wedding. This is the guy I was talking about, my dearest friend, Joe. And Joey, I met in the game, and he was always the guy that could just, he rubbed the magic lamp and people came, and I just didn't understand, and I still don't. And even Joe is just sitting there, I mean, the book to his face, just like, oh my god, what am I doing? And it's exhausting, because you want to show people, your way of doing things, and it's 90% of it is the way I'm doing it is better than maybe something else you'll find, and you have to sell them on that. And then you were talking about the recruitment post where half of it you're telling them, hey, this is what you're not going to get. And I just did the same approach. I was like, this is our alliance. You will not get this or this or this, but you will get this, and everyone's like, well, that doesn't balance,
Yeah.
It's so difficult. And, it is, a community is what you make it. And that's the hardest thing to sell people is, are you ready to do that work? And everyone's like, I don't want to do any work. I want to join something that's established maybe. And it's the people who, you find that want to do the work, that are few and far between. And when you do find them, generally speaking, you keep them. And so I persevere, my friend, because I am in the same boat with you. It is something. It is just wild. I'll even give you my model. My most recent model was, I'm making this alliance. These are my viewpoints. We're going to be independent, yada yada. We're going to live in Sov Null. That's our goal. And I don't want to be blue to anyone, and I don't want to be in a block. And, I thought for sure after the Goon War and how stagnant that got and where the game got to, I was certain, we'd see a bunch of block breakup and, some of these alliances maybe dwindle and you'd see other groups prosper and, maybe we would become more appealing. And what I instantly found out is all of these people shelled up. They went home, they started work mining and isking up again, and they're like, okay, the Chinese are about to shoot each other. Let's go. We're going to blow the crap out of it. And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for, fraternity, AOM shooting each other. Or the Russians, are taking out Dread Bomb right now. It's block on block on block. And there's not been a lot of separation. And I was hoping for groups like Dock Workers and Snuff has actually been surprisingly successful. And not surprisingly, they're a very good group. They've been able to acquire some from other groups. Volta's got their We Form Blob thing. They formed up. They are largely an independent thing. It is an alternative to Horde. It's just interesting what groups have gained footings and what haven't in regards to recruitment. And it is completely 100% about what you're providing, how you're providing it, and it may be rubbing that genie lamp a little bit. It's confusing and frustrating, but persevere, my friend. Persevere.
Yeah. I think my biggest strategy is I just get them on comms and I just talk to them, and eventually I'll wear them down and they'll say yes, and then at some point it'll just be inconvenient to leave. So it's been working out well.
Just keeps talking, and I don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
And, now I gotta join him.
My wife's got dinner ready. I'm gonna go now. Yeah.
It's like, what are you eating?
Yeah. Get your phone. Put your camera on. I want to see it.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Oh yeah. No, it's this week it's been really good. I'm ahead of schedule. So if I can keep this half-ass up, I think we'll be, and that's the thing too, you gotta get to that. That just, you can't do much with two guys. that's all there is to it, I mean, you may, we're going to be a small gang PvP, and we're going to fly nano comps and stuff. Well, I tried flying nano comps. I can fly them by myself, but I can't FC them worth a shit. And yeah, it didn't go well. So it's like, okay, well, maybe we'll have to focus a little more on the traditional fleets. And yeah, you got to have guys to fly it. And you got to. Yeah. I
mean, that's a big thing. When we came back, we had, the initial couple weeks, we had 5-6 people who came back, which I thought was, a ridiculously large poll for having just like reappeared, out of the ether. Anyway, and it was hard because I'll give you my first, this is I'm back from the game. And I had no idea what an ADC was. And I hopped into a fleet with Darius from UFC. They invited us, me and Joe, to a fleet. We hopped in our Vagabonds, and I had a standard damage control on that Vagabond. And they were all like, whoa, you've been out for a bit. I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, dude, have you seen this mod? I'm like, nah. And we died pretty solid. If I had the ADC, I would have lived. It was one of those like, holy crud. And then, I learned very quickly, those small gangs it's all about, as a small gang FC myself, it is all about geography, knowing your enemy's infrastructure, and for the love of God, staying away from their staging, unless you are a smart SOB.
Yeah.
We've gotten to the point where you can bring a small gang in right into frat staging, And the hope is you're small enough that the local doesn't go up too much, and they're just unsuspecting Vexers and Merms sitting inside.
Yeah, and then it's just a
wholesale
feeding frenzy.
And then it's a feeding frenzy. I mean, it's there, but it is incredibly niche and incredibly you got to be on the ball. Whereas I remember in the old days, it wasn't that difficult. You know, Eve has evolved, and so do we with it. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. When I've been in there, and you know, when they respawn with Cerberus is rapid light.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's
what are you gonna do?
Well, okay, this is what we're going to do, Fleet. We got some nano ships and stuff. We're going to warp in the middle of them, and I want you to hit F1, and we're going to apply out to 120k. And that's pretty much going to solve the problem, and it does.
And we're going to exist, and if they burn to us, we're going to kill something, hopefully.
And then we're going to hit that, ADC, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, and what is the content at that point? Is it getting the kills, or is it inducing stress in the enemy fleet commander? You know, it's like, oh, these guys with their 5 people.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's a mind game, too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and, you know, and with these smaller gangs, too, kind of the thing I enjoy is, you know, I hope we can do a 30-man fleet someday. I mean, that's not crazy, but it's still super fun to me when you start getting these new guys, and you got 10 to 15 guys, and you know, everyone, you know, you see everyone kind of gravitate towards things they like, you know, like, oh shit, this guy, I'm pretty sure he's going to be my, you know, LC, my Logi commander, and then, you know, those tackle guys and all that. And I know when IFC, I kind of learned this from you flying with you guys in Volta, you know, you definitely see on streams or hear about those FCs that, you know, they got 5 accounts up and they're scouting with their scouts, you know, their anchor, their target color, they got, you know, their sinos cloaked up and all that. And, you know, watching you guys with Volta was cool. You know, you guys had an anchor, and then you had one guy combat scanning. That's another thing I really caught on to. I was like, oh shit, so you're telling me you can put these things and you just like hit scan and then you warp to any bastard you want? And I was like, oh, well, all right. So try to get, yeah, I was like, okay. And yeah, but just watching how you guys just broke all that up, and then, you know, and it's kind of crazy too. You get this weird thing like your individual pilots improve and become self-efficient, and then pretty soon you'll go to ask, hey, can you, oh, he's already got it. All right, let's get ready. Oh, never mind, that's good, you know. And then
I mean,
yeah,
it's Eilish. I am so I'm so afraid to scruff his beard, because he is a phenomenal scouting pilot. I mean, I mean, quicker than me. And the other night made me look like a butthead because we lost a paladin because I took a split second more than Eilish would. I mean, he found it, he warped in, he's like, hey, it's over here. I'm like, son of a bitch. You know, people are gifted, and Eilish is one of those in just being able to descan, effectively use the tool that CCP provides, which is not the most perfect thing in the entire world, and then, you know, get on grid and tackle something.
Yeah.
You know, and then we bring in the troops. And, you know, my one time that I got a one-up on Eilish was scan probes, because I've got the skills, I've been training them for years, and we happened to be flying through Caladrius space in Branch or Tenal. It was Tenal. And there's that gas constellation. And by the way, hear me out. If you're one of those guys wanting to get some free kills, you go over there and you put your probes out and you start scanning down all those practices running sites AFK. I mean, we had a wholesale party, and Eilish is like, I am useless here. I am absolutely useless here, because no D-scan is going to help you get the gas site. But I mean, we must have killed 5-6 praxises in the span of a couple minutes. You know, we were warping off, and we're like, hey, there's another one in this system. We're waiting on gate aggression, trying to get to the next one.
I think we got very lucky with the type of content creators that we got a hold of. And for example, like Cole Powered, you know, kind of was one of the ones that taught me how to, you know, do the small gang stuff, how to descan. And I think, you know, on Alliance base, you know, if you guys do have those content creators and those ones that are facilitating, you know, player growth, you know, giving that position and support to and
Support
it
them and feed them anything they need.
Yeah, and it just creates that welcoming culture to bring and bring in more players.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Well, I mean, I think I could probably just chat away on that all day long. Well, I guess we'll kind of move on, and at some point, also, if you're interested, I'd like to have you back on the podcast, maybe after a bit, and maybe give everyone kind of an update on how the alliance and corporation has been progressing. It sounds like you guys really got some stuff starting to kick off, and I mean that's kind of one of the things want to do with this podcast is kind of follow these smaller corporations and alliances and directors. We all hear about the big groups, on Reddit, or they have their own podcasts and that kind of stuff. But yeah, groups like you guys that are really out there doing something, I can personally know that you guys do have a great community and something really unique going on there.
I appreciate that. I actually, I'm always the joker. Someone asks me, like, how's it going? I'm like, that scene in Indiana Jones, he like picks up the golden idol and he starts running down the tunnel and the darts are flying and there's a bunch of skeletons and the one guy is like, throw it to me, and like grabs the whip or leaves him with the whip or whatever, and that's us, and the rock is nullsec. And and we are just running from it. And if we get out there and the natives don't decide to cannibalize us, we'll have succeeded. So that's I appreciate having the time to be with you and you inviting me, because it's been awesome. It was a good time.
You are more than welcome to stay as we look over some of the battle reports that Levi is going to bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. I will scrutinize other people's mistakes all day long. Let me tell you.
Well, and another thing too. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on in Pureblind from the sounds of it. Give us maybe just a little quick. We got Respect, Honor, Passion, kind of unshackling their chains out there, or was it a double cross, or what? Right.
What goes on with that? Yeah. Well, Pureblind, man, it's what was cool about being in Volta, because my Corp Cholo, Into the Ether, we were a U.S. time zone Corp in Volta, which is an oddity in its own because we were U.S. time zone. Volta is a very strong EU time zone alliance, and SFC and Wolf are just beyond awesome to work with. And when we even said, hey, we want to do this dumb thing and make our own alliance, they were like, hey, yeah, more independent groups, dude, we're about it. So big respect out to Volta there.
For sure.
Their little thing that they're doing is they call it Greater Trash Coalition, and that's because Volta just has the ongoing joke in itself is they're trash, and it comes from a video of SFC, I think, at a CCP gathering, having just won like one of those at the con tournaments or something, and their existence in Pureblind has very much been, oh, this is ours, and whatever else happens to the other stuff, we don't care. They're one of those groups that is a big fan of, maybe not so much a small footprint as much as they control their area, and if there is another alliance there that provides content in its existence, that is more healthy for Volta's player base than anything, right?
Yeah.
And so Pureblind is very much a indicator of that. While Volta has elements of Pureblind, there's a bunch of small alliances there. Some of them moved in because Frat evicted him from Tribute and Vale. And they said, hey, come on over, set up shop. We don't own it. You can take it. Who cares? I'm not going to, mess with you. So that entire area of Pureblind is kind of lit up now with a Brave coming into the area and RHP doing what it's doing. RHP, to talk on that, is they're a character. That is the easy way to say that.
Yeah.
it left me speechless, because the way I understand this, and this is from the people involved that said, hey, this is what happened. Volta has an op up, RHP formed an op, and Blued Banderlogs, who has been a Volta adversary even while my time was there and having come ended. And Banderlogs is very much independent and kind of frat and NSH aligned in the fact that they kind of have a NIP thing, is kind of like, hey, if I get hit, you'll come and help me kind of deal. They're not part of Winterco in any way, but they definitely did that in order to kind of give them the finger to Volta. And RHP blued them, and then and started intosising Volta stuff. And up until this point, they're blue with Volta. So Volta holds a whole bunch of iHubs in if anyone, this will show my age, the old testagram in Declet. And they also had a whole bunch of renters in RHP. It's a very convoluted thing, but TLDR, RHP kind of crossed the Rubicon. And I don't know if that's where the hill I would have died on, but they are absolutely getting just wrecked right now. They're getting completely removed by Volta, and there is just no support from Frat or anything. You might assume that maybe Frat was behind it and maybe was going to assist, and there is some NC and Pandemic Horde coming along, and I think that's because RHP has brought or asked those players to come. I don't think that it is some big conspiracy. I really think RHP just screwed the pooch. It's a confusing one. So that's one facet, and that's more of the Declan north of Fade stuff. But when you look at Pure Blind, you're looking at Brave now. That's kind of the big news, and I had the pleasure of talking to Dunk and their Diplo team, and I said, hey, what's your intentions? Because, I'm here, I'm on contract. If I need to come back, I'm prepared to do that. Because Brave does bring content. If there's anything we know, when we were in FDZ, we would undock, go to Brave staging, and they would undock Feroxes, we'd be in Canes, and we'd be having the fun. Now, that's a good wife, by the way.
Yeah,
bringing
so
here.
Awesome about that.
And they were great in that regard. And Pure Blind, for them, is they're trying to take some space. And my understanding is they're trying to do that independent thing. And I am all about an independent Brave. But Brave needs to unblue Frat to do that. And Brave needs to do it on its own. Because right now, if Volta didn't want them, they wouldn't be there. That's the easy way I can say that. And Brave is right now shooting Flying Dangerous, who is a real independent group. Flying Dangerous can take it. They've been, evicted and moved everywhere. They're a good group themselves. And my understanding is they're shooting Vanderlogs too. It'll be interesting to see how Brave, exists in that area. But I think from a new player standpoint and reinventing itself, Brave will do really good there. It's close to Jita. Logistics is great, and if you're smart, it's good ratting too. A lot of people are like, oh, the true sex sucks. I'm like, there's a lot of other reasons to have it that way. The moons are good, that kind of stuff. But Pure Blind as a whole is just a weird thing. And then you start to look a little bit south of Pure Blind, you're looking at Cloud Ring, and Init is starting to I think Init is getting a little fat, and that cat wants to get a bigger box. So we'll see how that shapes up in Cloud Ring.
Yeah, they've been poking with just a little bit.
Yeah, they've been messing with them. A couple of jump bridges got hit. They actually refed my my Fortizar and BTAC D. It's kind of our relic of our Fountain campaign. We just kind of been sitting on it. And mind you, good call on me in it, because I should have pulled that up a while ago. That said, though, they refed that the other day. I'm like, oh, okay, can't do anything about that. It's in it. So we'll see what that develops into. It's a hotbed right now. I mean, if you're wanting to take roams and get content, that's the spot. It's a good spot for it.
Yeah, the groups that are already established there, it's kind of a shame that some of them, if Brave is going to come in, that some of them are going to have to kind of move out of the way. It's too bad that that whole region just wasn't a couple constellations bigger. We could tuck them in with those already established
Tell me
groups.
about
Man, that would
Tell
be
me
a
about
fight club.
I'm a huge, and this is like when I was in Vale, the U.S. time or Vale. When I was in Volta, the U.S. time zone in Volta used to kind of. Actually, it wasn't even so much U.S. time zone Volta as much as some of the residents that were there. Our alliance used to be, as parts of it were Hysteria, and they used to call me the Viceroy of Pureblind because I was all about establishing a small foothold for them and getting another group of little guys hanging out. I'm a huge fan of fight clubs. I'm a huge fan of people having their own shit and just duking it out. And you could say there's, I think the smallest region in this game is Fade. I think it's like 4 constellations. Volta is very compact. They're living in what I would say is the smallest constellation. And I think the only reason Volta has what they have in Pureblind is just because Fade is as small as, as it is. And, it'd be very interesting if it were a little bit bigger, because that is what they've fostered. Is a and it's a little
it is kind of funny when you do pull Fate up on Dotland. It's gotta be
teeny weeny.
It's gotta be the smallest nullsec region out there as far as I know.
I think the next smallest one is it Omist? No, it's not Impasse or Omist. Although Impasse is compact. Maybe Paragon Soul might be one of the next smallest ones. It looks bigger than it is on Dotland, but I think that's 5 constellations. There's just not a lot of space in Fate and Paragon, for instance. It's a tiny little thing.
When you brought up Hysteria, was with Boss Man when that one got going. Got a kind of a funny little story that I've told people here or there, but they were doing a poll, Discord poll to see. They had a couple names, for the alliance because we're still sitting for SMA and and they had some names and some I was like that's rough, I don't like that one. Then someone was like Hysteria, and I was like, oh yeah, Ticker Panic. I'm like, okay, I could get behind that, yeah. And it was, I can't even remember what the second one, but it was like everyone. Kind of from feeling out, everyone was like super close, and so it was like they were gonna let this poll determine on Discord. So I was like, I don't want to be called that other name. So I went and every person I knew on Discord, I was like, hey, can you do me a favor and vote in this poll for Hysteria? Yeah. And I think we won all right, but I like to think that I sealed the deal on that one.
That community, and them merging in, this is totally pun intended, but they were hysterical to work with. Being new bro friendly and just absorbing. That's where I had the pleasure of meeting Eilish and in a way fell in love. You meet people and you're just like, oh my god, this is my person. And there are so many of my people there. Just constantly being sponges. They're absorbing everything and they're learning, and if they don't already know it, they are giving that space for you to help them learn it. And then furthermore, once they know it, they are sharing it, and that is so important and crucial to a community. Hell of an alliance, and I absolutely pleased that they decided to do this little project, because they took everything, alliance, wallet, infrastructure, all of it, the space they held. I helped them take that from TPI, and it was a Christmas gift. TPI dropped its
top. Oh my god, that intosing.
Oh god, it was horrid, but it was worth it. And they gave everything to me. They said, hey, you're the alliance leader now. Boss is part of our little board, which has been cool, because while I get to be community head in our alliance, I have a bunch of guys that do a lot of the work and help me delegate, which is the first time ever in EVE, and that's huge. Yeah. And they just gave us everything. Absolutely selfless, absolutely devoted to the content and having fun. Hell of a group.
Yeah, I've been alliance, CEO and stuff, and kind of been like the shipping guy and doctrines and all. Yeah,
hardest job in EVE. People don't. Quick. This group respects the fact that I'm doing it. I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, oh, going to my second job. See you later.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
I shouldn't say that. That's mean. Because no, it's not. I have fun every night. But it's if there's one thing, CCP, if you're listening, if there's one thing you can do, it is to take care of those people that actually run the communities here. Because you're trying to recruit and expand your game, and you need to give us better tools to do that.
Yeah.
That is my shout to CCP. It is very hard running an alliance. The roles, the titles. If you're a new player and you're trying to start your own group, it's exhausting. I mean, it took me years to learn it.
Yeah. Yep. I just went.
And that's the biggest complaint I get.
Yeah, and I just went through all that, and like I have a decent understanding of it, and it's still a chore. And then you get everything. Here's a fun one I did. You get everything set up just right, add everything, hanger access, and then you forget to hit save.
And then you forget to hit save. Yeah. Oh, God. It's frustrating.
Oh, man. Well, we'll have to get you on here. Yeah, when you come back on again, you'll have to give us a little update on little status of Pureblind and all that.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you the end of our Pureblind thing is this is a shock to some, and some people have heard is our time in Pureblind's actually ending. Our alliance is going to be transferring the space or selling it or what have you, and we'll be leaving by the 6th. We've decided to go temporarily, at least for the time being, nomadic. We're reducing our blue footprint. We're enhancing our content right now. We've been jumping all over the place. We got a bunch of different stagers, and that's the route we chose. Right now, being a mercenary group and taking the money we're making what we were making in Pureblind. And there's not a lot of places where you get passive income. So I alluded to that earlier. There's not a lot of people our size are doing what we're doing, and that's the choice I made. And it's been, knock on wood, it's been working out. But our time in Pureblind's going to end, but the friends I have there are endless. So I hope next time I'm on and you ask me the question, maybe I got some more updates for you.
Oh no, we look forward to hearing about that. Yeah, that's going to be exciting. And I know if there's a group that can, make that nomadic life work, I think you guys are definitely cut out for it.
I hope we do. I appreciate that.
Well, this is the point where Eilish has got some, battle reports. Last time I pretended to know what I was talking about on them. This time I'm just going to scroll through and let him talk about it.
Okay. I think Rots is going to be a big help talking about some of these battle reports coming up.
Well, let's see if while you were talking earlier, I was trying to get this pop up and somehow keep Rots' camera up there, and it wasn't working out well. But we're gonna see what we can do here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. See, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, he's back. All right, so the first one we got here, and I can't look it up without blocking out Rot's face. We're just gonna have to do it.
That's all right.
This is the Great Wildlands one. Yep. So there's been a bunch of fighting between the Russians out here, and all these entities are trying to step in. I think this one, Pandemic Horde came, NSH came. Just a whole bunch of these large groups stepped in. Pandemic Horde dropped some Titans, and even put a Zenitra on grid. I've never seen one.
Looking at 2 Ragnaroks and a Zenitra out here.
Yeah, it was a pretty costly fight on the Dread Bomb side. 71 bill to the 15 that they killed.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's a tough one. Were they fighting Macarials, NSH Max?
Yeah, they were fighting the NSH Max, and then I believe there was, Munins on grid as well. There's just so many doctrines that were being deployed. It was kind of hard to find an answer for, as many as you can without, falling into getting countered by another.
The Tengus, we actually fly them, you see a lot of these battle reports where the Tengus do really good on Munins, if they're FC correctly and all that. And then there's these other fights where you see the Tengus not do good. They're an afterburner cruiser. It's an oddity. Right now, nowadays, I'm an older player, so I remember the days of Loki getting, there's just tons of Lokis everywhere. And if you're in a Tengu fleet that is doing everything properly and using the ECM, you can do good against Munins. But Pandemic Horde, they're good in those mutants. I mean, for a block, they're good at them. It's not just your normal F1 monkey FC. It's a couple decent dudes that have been doing it for a bit. But also NSH Macarials. You don't counter
They
Macarials.
hurt. Yeah,
they don't
hurt.
just hurt.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, you have slots on a Macarial to say, oh well, your jams aren't doing anything to me. Train some good comp skills, fly a different ship, and magically those Tengus are useless.
Yeah.
It's a tough fight. I think there were a few of my guys that were actually in here. We've roped into a couple things on the contract we're doing. We're helping AOM, and this is one of them where IOU and the gang are doing their thing, and we just tagged along. I don't even know what the strategic point of why this fight happened was.
Look, seeing Fortizar on the kill mill there. Well, not on the kill mill, but on showing up. Yeah, I think that. Oh man, the rough thing too about those Tengus with them being AB fitted. If it goes wrong, you're losing a lot of those ships. They're just not going to get out of there.
The Tengus in that fight, I couldn't have did any better. I'm not a phenomenal SC either, but I don't think a lot of people could have did any better. Yeah. Whether it be Spartan, whether it be Sadao, whether it be, shit. I not a lot of FCs could have did that one pretty good.
Yeah, especially with the numbers disadvantage and just the cap superiority Pandemic Horde had there. So
that, and you're scrolling through and there's some Cerberuses on the Tengu fleet size, and the reality is Macarials, you get like 5 TPs out, and Macarials are applying perfectly. That's most battleships now, and then you've got mutants that are probably overdrive fit that are just keeping up, and if they're not, it's just because they're like, we got the numbers. It's an easy counter to Zerbs, just fit in overdrive and laugh. That's a tough battle report.
Yeah. All right, gonna move on to the next one here. Looks like we're looking in Declan. This is looks like a toilet paper Volta. We form Blob, Scrumlords. We form Volta. Out of the blue, you guys are on this one versus, and this is Respect, Honor, Passion. So yeah, this is the one.
Yeah, so recently it's gotten to the point in that little campaign over there with RHP that the structures are finally getting into whole timers, and Volta's coming to collect. Pandemic Horde actually has been showing up to some of them, and kind of holding back Volta every once in a while, but it's still kind of a downward spiral per se for RHP. Sooner or later that Keepstar is going to be the cherry on top.
Yeah, again, this just alludes back to that was a choice. You reap the whirlwind, right? So that's just not a gang I would have went and Toasist and flipped on. Volta has the time zone to play against these guys. Volta has the skill and the ability to, in my opinion, mop up an RHP fleet of maybe double the size. They don't have, as far as I know, phenomenal, amazing, well-known FCs. And that's not to discourage them or anything, but it's, they got SFC and Volta, they got Wolf. These guys, I came back to game and I just absorbed. I learned so much from those two. It is just not... a lot of these battle reports, there's a few of them out there right now where it's just a clean wipe and you're seeing minimal losses.
Well, especially when you look at this one, Volta, like you said, they know how to fight outnumbered, and when they're outnumbering you on field, it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a real tough one.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on here. Then we got our last one. Looks like we got same one. Look at me go. I think there's a couple of good. Yeah, I know. I think that it's a pretty good summarization, though. Kind of respect, honor, passion, what's going on up there. It's been a tough go for them. Mm-hmm. Well, just kind of going to close out. I'm going to give kind of some. If you guys want to give your comments and feedback on it, just kind of going to go over what's been going on with my little group and stuff. Last episode, Doughboy, set a cult set the goal to get another 10 corporations in the alliance. We're kind of doing. It's a fun idea. I think it's working out. Obviously, I don't think it's something that would necessarily work for a nullsec alliance or something like that. But just having a bunch of smaller corporations that kind of act independently in alliance, where we can come together for a little extra content and kind of some bigger fights or to help each other out. These structures or stuff like that's getting hit. Where these 5-man corpses can't, protect their assets on their own. So it's been pretty fun getting more and more guys. I would say overall, like our rally point or everyone's fallback is we got a little section of low sec space. We've kind of been hanging out down in Amar, kind of by, Ermelin and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's been fun. Getting more and more people, seeing them on comps and all that. Doughboy, yeah, he set the goal for another 10 corps. By the end of the next month, and I think we're well on our way. We got another 4 this week. One of the groups, there was some stuff going on. They kind of newer to Eve, set up in a wolf. Good guy, helped him. Because one of the things we want to make sure we're not war eligible, so. Show these groups how to, make holding corps and, how they can still operate, all their structures and all that. And don't need to have them in the corp. And so helped him set that up in the wormhole, and kind of learn these new mechanics. And then I think it was Rook Capel was kind of camping their hole. He got hold of some guy with goons. I'm not good. I need to look up the names, get a little more info, but I'm sure most people on Reddit or watching on Twitch have a pretty good idea what I'm talking about. But essentially paid this guy to help protect his hole, Once again, new guy. I think he learned, don't pay anyone anything until they've kind of produced. But so he took the money, Brooke Capel left, and then he proceeded to camp and hit all their structures. So kind of was a double cross. That was pretty interesting, and it was kind of, he knew, so it's kind of very exciting, I guess, for him. And it was kind of just like, okay, hey, these are the things you need to do. But he did a pretty good job. Reached out to some guys. Another streamer got some band of guys, got whole control, went in there. And, yeah, it was pretty interesting. I know you can find this stuff on Reddit, get a little more information than I don't know, honestly. But it was kind of interesting. Definitely some community outreach, with pointing out that it was kind of a shitty move, but I mean, this is Eve, not the first time we've heard a story like that. And then, yeah, so I just want to personally give a little shout out. We're talking about ROTS, people that can successfully, pull off mercenary contracts and hold their own space, but got to give a shout out to my boy Bacon. I knew that there was, obviously I had this dream with setting up, helping setting up this alliance and operating my corp, kind of set up for newer guys that you can make a good living out of low sec. And I know, you kind of got to shake all the trees. There's not just, we've got our infrastructure laid down and I'm just going to go hit hubs all day. You kind of got a belt rat little here, get some clone soldiers there, hit the gas sites when you got it. And he was just out in this little V&I fit, Vexor Navy, that he kind of brought to me and, kind of had the premise of it laid down. I was like, oh, that could work. And we kind of worked on this little fit. And I think one day made close 600-700 mil, just messing around. It was pretty impressive, It was just fun. He's just been super cool to hang out with on comms. And the last couple days, Vanilla, oh man, if I don't get all these guys' name right, I'm terrible when you put me on the spot with names. Yeah, Vanilla, Zim, those guys know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been super fun. Been getting some super good guys. Yeah, it's been great. Just going to continue to grow the corp and hopefully get some.
Just hearing that narrative, it's all succession.
Yeah.
Everything one after another. You keep stepping and keep stepping and keep stepping, and I think when we like for our group, we first said, hey, we're gonna go do this crazy thing. Like the whole group first formed to go shoot fountain because we were all bored. And there were a lot of people who told us that's gonna be crazy. and then lo and behold, we spawned a 70-man fleet out of nowhere. It's just, it's a stepping stone, everything. So hearing that, I mean, I can only hope for the best. I think they're in good hands also with you there, and I heard the Twitch stream last week with Doughboy, and good head on his shoulders. I think it's gonna be a hell of a game changer. I think people are gonna have another alternative to go to something.
Yeah,
and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, it's and I mean, having a plan and how you think something's going to work out is one thing, but then getting these guys in and like kind of seeing like, oh shit, it does work. Kind of prove to yourself as well. It's been fun, and yeah, hopefully we'll continue to grow. And yeah, this has been great. And just to get like to the whole, this podcast, and I guess. Didn't really talk about it last week, but this was just something I was like, I think that'd be cool to do. I think, IFC, I can keep a fleet entertained and talk. And then you get on, put a camera in your face and stuff, and then like definitely at the end of it, it was like, yeah, okay, so, well, this hasn't lasted as long as I would like. And then kind of, thankfully, Eilish has been here because he's a great dude, definitely helps fill in where I lack. And then I kind of, I mean, Eilish, what do you think? I guess the amount of views, what I'm trying to say is how many views we actually got. And, this being the internet that was, I was really ready for just a shitstorm of, oh man, this was rough. And one guy said it was rough, and I agree. I was there. I know firsthand. But yeah, overall, it's just the support, and just keep pushing at it. It's been great. I mean, how have you felt about it, Eilish?
That's all we can really do is just keep doing it.
Persevere.
Mm-hmm.
That's again, my advice comes to bear.
I may say, Levi.
Yeah.
Roto mine worker.
I wasn't going to say anything. I'm actually a big fan of it. I'm tempted.
Me too.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. I seen it, and I was like, we're just going to go with it.
Yeah, our Alliance Discord's blowing up with Hail Roto.
Yeah, it's gonna be a add the O 2021. Please CCP, make me the Roto Minchworker of my dreams.
Well, don't you worry. If I'm in charge of setting up the stream, there will be lots of spelling errors to come. So.
Oh yeah, I mean next week it'll be like a Y or a Z or.
Oh yeah, well now we'll have to keep it going. We'll come up with something good.
I mean, what's the? Here's the thing. The O isn't even near the S on the keyboard, so you're just like, yeah, I'm throwing that in there.
No, don't. I can't even bullshit my way out of that one. Oh man,
he does his best.
Yeah. Well, once again, really want to thank you for coming on here. I feel like this one went a lot better. Great guest. Couldn't ask for anything more. And if we can keep getting guests like you on here, or you back on here again, I think we'll be all right.
I have some friends who would probably be very interested. I'll get you in touch with them.
Absolutely, that'd be awesome.
As you know, always give me a call. I'm always here. Love your face.
Oh yeah, you too, bud. Eilish, you got a shout out you want to give to anyone? You
no,
got
sir.
fanboys
Not
in every end of this galaxy. I know you.
I may, but we'll just leave them in the background for a little bit.
All right. Well, I guess with that, we'll be signing off episode 2. Or is this episode 1? I feel like the first one's kind of a pilot, but yeah.
You gotta like your pilots. Pilots are just as crucial and important.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Hopefully next week if we got the content. Otherwise, we'll be bi-weekly. But yeah, once again, if you want to catch more episodes, I'm going to try to be better about putting them a little more ahead of time on Twitch. And then you can also find it on the Discord at Social Infrastructure Podcast on Discord.
Awesome.
Links below. See you guys.
Bye-bye.